It was an unusually warm evening in the small town of Solare, where the sky seemed to sparkle with 1,000 stars. The wind gently swept through the streets, carrying with it a sense of magic and wonder. The horizon was streaked with shades of pink and orange as the sun slowly sank, giving way to night. Mia stood on the hill overlooking the town, her long auburn hair cascading like waves over her shoulders. Her bright, curious eyes reflected the fading light of the sun, her heart filled with dreams and the thrill of adventure. Mia had always felt different from the rest of the people in Solar. There was an energy inside her, a spark she couldn't quite explain. Some said it was the magic of the town, but Mia knew it was something more, something that had always been with her. Ethan, on the other hand, was the type of person who lived with his feet firmly on the ground. His strong, tall frame was complemented by his deep brown eyes, which were often lost in thought. He was a man of action, not words, someone who believed in solving problems with his hands rather than contemplating them. Ethan had always been a part of the town, well known and liked by everyone, but he never expected to meet anyone like Mia. One evening, while walking home from his favorite spot by the river, Ethan stumbled upon Mia on the hill. Their eyes met, and for a brief moment, the world seemed to stop. Mia smiled shyly, and Ethan felt something stir inside him, something deep and undeniable. There was an unspoken connection between them, like the stars in the sky had drawn them together. "Hi," Mia said, her voice soft but warm. "Hey," Ethan replied, surprised by the gentle energy she gave off. "What brings you here?" Mia shrugged, gazing up at the stars. "Just thinking. It's quiet up here. I like it." Ethan nodded, feeling the same peace. "Yeah, me too." Their conversations grew more frequent in the days that followed, and it became clear that they shared a bond unlike anything either of them had experienced before. But as their connection deepened, so did the challenges they would have to face. Ethan's mother, Mrs. Winters, was a woman of strict principles. She ran the town's small bakery, known for its warm, delicious pastries. But she was not as warm herself. Her sharp, calculating eyes often overlooked the softer parts of life. She had plans for her son, and Mia was not part of them. The first time she met Mia, it was during one of Ethan's visits home. Mrs. Winters was busy baking when Ethan introduced her to Mia. "Mother, this is Mia," Ethan said, his voice filled with pride. "Mia, this is my mum." Mrs. Winters eyed Mia from head to toe, her gaze cold and calculating. Mia stood there awkwardly, unsure of what to say. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Winters," Mia said politely, extending her hand. Mrs. Winters didn't take her hand. "Is it?" she asked sharply, her voice low and disapproving. "I wonder what you think you're doing here. A girl like you, mixing with my son? He has his future to think about. A girl with no connections. No family standing to speak of. What can you possibly offer him?" Mia's heart sank. She had grown up without much, but her soul was rich in dreams and ambition. She wasn't looking for approval from anyone, especially not someone who had already judged her. Ethan could feel the tension in the room, and it crushed him. "Mom, that's not fair," he said, his voice growing firm. "Mia is important to me." But Mrs. Winters wasn't done. "If you were thinking of your future, you wouldn't be wasting time with someone who has nothing to offer," she retorted. Walking away to prepare the dough, Ethan sighed deeply, his heart torn between his mother's expectations and his growing feelings for Mia. He tried to reassure Mia that his mother would come around, but deep down he knew it wouldn't be easy. The tension between Ethan and his mother, only worsened. But the challenges didn't end there. A new figure entered the scene. Luke, a charming and well-dressed young man who had recently moved to Solar. He was the type of person everyone seemed to like, and it didn't take long for him to notice Mia. Luke was different from Ethan. While Ethan was quiet and reserved, Luke was charismatic, always ready with a smile or a witty remark. He quickly befriended Mia, and his admiration for her was evident. Mia too found herself drawn to him, enjoying his company. But it didn't take long for Ethan to notice the growing closeness between them. One evening, while Mia and Luke were sitting by the river, Ethan arrived to find them laughing together. The sight cut through him like a knife. He hadn't realized how much he had come to depend on Mia's presence until it was threatened. "Hey, Mia," Ethan said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Luke." "Hey, Ethan." Luke greeted him with a grin, his eyes sparkling. "We were just talking about the new art exhibition in town. Mia's got such a talent for painting." Mia blushed at the compliment. "It's just a hobby," she said modestly. Ethan could tell there was something more between them, something that threatened the bond he had with Mia. His jealousy bubbled up, but he held it in check. He didn't want to seem petty, but seeing Luke so close to Mia made him feel like he was losing something he had only just started to understand. The dynamics between the three of them grew more complicated as time passed. Mia was torn between Ethan, who she had a deep connection with, and Luke, whose charm and attention flattered her. She didn't want to hurt either of them, but she knew that whatever choice she made, someone would be left disappointed. Ethan's mother, however, was still a major obstacle. She continued to express her disapproval of Mia, going as far as to spread rumors about her to other townsfolk. Mia's reputation began to suffer, and it took a toll on her emotionally. Ethan, too, felt the pressure mounting from all sides. "I can't do this anymore," Mia said one evening, her voice trembling. "I'm not going to be the cause of your family's problems." Ethan reached for her hand, his heart aching. "Mia, please, don't say that. You're not the problem. My mom is just stubborn. She'll come around, I promise." But Mia wasn't so sure. "I don't want to be the reason you're torn between your family and me." As the conflict between the three of them reached its peak, an unexpected event occurred that changed everything. Mia was walking home one night when she was suddenly confronted by a group of rowdy boys from town who had been spreading the rumors Mrs. Winters had started. They were rude, and one of them even tried to grab her arm. Before she could react, Ethan appeared out of nowhere. His fists clenched, his voice low with anger. "Leave her alone." The boys hesitated for a moment, but when Ethan took a step forward, they backed off, grumbling under their breath. Mia stood there stunned as Ethan led her away. "Are you okay?" he asked softly, his eyes filled with concern. Mia nodded, though her heart was still racing. "I'm fine, thanks to you. But why did you do that? Why do you keep trying to protect me when I can't even seem to protect myself?" Ethan took a deep breath. "Because I care about you, Mia. I've never felt this way about anyone before." Just then, Luke appeared, looking concerned. "Mia, are you okay?" Mia turned to face him, her heart torn. "I don't know anymore, Luke. There's too much happening, too many people pulling me in different directions." But then, for the first time in weeks, she realized what her heart truly wanted. She turned to Ethan, her eyes filled with tears. "I've been scared of losing what we have, scared of everything falling apart. But I realize now, I want to be with you. I've always wanted to be with you." Ethan smiled, his heart swelling with relief and happiness. "I want that too, Mia. I don't care what anyone says. We'll find a way." A few months later, the town of Solar was buzzing with excitement. Mia and Ethan's love had stood the test of time, overcoming the obstacles placed in their path. Mrs. Winters, though still not fully convinced, had grudgingly accepted Mia into the family. The town had finally seen what Ethan had known all along. Mia was the brightest star in the sky, and she belonged by his side. The day of their wedding, the sky was filled with stars, brighter than they had ever been before. Mia walked down the aisle, her heart full of love, her eyes shining with happiness. Ethan stood at the altar, waiting for her. The love,